Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello there. On the programme this evening.
Guilty of unspeakable crimes, the man who killed his 2 children and his new girlfriend over the course of 6 years. Tonight, Jordan Monahan starts a life sentence. Ruby and Logan's mum left heartbroken.
Today is bittersweet for me. I won't be celebrating this verdict because for me there's no winners here. I don't get my babies back and this will never be over for me.
We'll be live from Preston Crown Court with that shocking story.
Also tonight.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday!
Is this the best present ever?
The woman placed in a coma after falling with COVID who woke up with a baby. Find out how she and baby Hope defied the odds to survive.
A sight for sore feet. Martin makes it over the finish line after 7 days of pain for his sporting hero.
Out 2 sets gone! And here come the Bears.
Grin and bear it. The bizarre ice hockey ritual that's all for a good cause.
And with Christmas Day little more than a week away, will we get a white Christmas? All the detail of what we currently think a little later on.
First, the gambling addict, described as manipulative and controlling, who killed 2 of his children and then his new girlfriend over the course of 6 years.
Jordan Monahan from Blackburn was found guilty by a jury earlier today after a trial lasting 10 weeks. The court was told the 30-year-old killed because he could not face rejection by his partners.
Our correspondent Elaine Wilcox is at Preston Crown Court now. Elaine, a terribly distressing case. Jordan Monahan lived a lie for 6 years.
Yes, that's right. In sentencing, the judge said Jordan Monahan was an exceptionally controlling and cruel man. Back in 2013, when New Year's Eve celebrations continued, in the early hours he'd gone into his daughter's bedroom and smothered Ruby, who was just 24 days old. The police said he revelled in the attention and sympathy after his daughter's death. And then 8 months later, when his partner Laura Gray discovered his gambling debts and threatened to leave him, he took their baby son Logan to a swimming pool and smothered him in the changing rooms, taking the dead child home in his pram and telling his mother he was sleeping for her to discover he wasn't breathing. It was only when he attempted to murder a 3rd child that he was arrested by police on suspicion of murder and bailed. It was at that point, 6 years later, that he started a new relationship with another mom, a vulnerable mom, Evie Adams. Police had tried to warn her against him and ban contact, but that relationship continued. It was only when she threatened to leave him that he began to poison her with prescription drugs for 5 days, leaving her to die in agony. Today, her father, Bernard Adams, said the sentence and conviction was a comfort, but it will never bring his daughter back. And Laura Gray sobbed throughout as police read her statement. She said she was a good mother and she misses her children every day.
All I ever wanted to be was a mum. I wanted to give children the love and opportunities I didn't have growing up. Jordan knew how much I wanted this too. My children are the most important things in my life. I loved every single day I had with them, and often think about this. I have the memories and the truly lovely memories, but memories will never be better than reality. I miss all of my children with my whole heart. It is so difficult to try and put into words what Jordan has done to me, but I will never be the same person again. When the children went, a huge part of me went with them. Jordan took the lives of Logan and Ruby. Initially, and for a very long time, I did not want to believe this, but now I know it's the truth. I still to this day struggle with the word murderer, and that's because accepting that 2 of your children have been killed by the person you trusted most in the whole world is simply an impossibility. Today is bittersweet for me. I won't be celebrating this verdict because for me there's no winners here. I don't get my babies back and this will never be over for me.
The officer who led this investigation said it was a complex case.
Jordan Monahan is a ruthless, cold-blooded, manipulative killer who killed his victims covertly and went to great lengths to cover up what he did. It was only after extensive, detailed investigations were we able to establish that those deaths were actually premeditated murder.
And Elaine, Jordan Monahan faces a life sentence. Tell us more about that.
Yes, that's right. And the court heard he killed because he couldn't face rejection from his partners. He was given 3 mandatory life sentences to serve a minimum of 40 years. He showed no reaction and no sign of remorse.
Elaine Wilcox at Preston Crown Court. Thank you.
Leaders across the Liverpool city region are appealing to the government for more help for businesses affected by the spread of the new variant. In an open letter, they say the latest guidance and advice is hitting hospitality hard. One Liverpool restaurateur says he's disappointed by the government's response so far.
Either allow us to remain open with no restrictions in place and stop dissuading people to come out to restaurants, or close us down for the good of the nation if that's the best thing to do, but put the support in place for us to be able to do that.
Next to the woman who was placed into a coma after being struck down by COVID and woke up with a baby.
Yes, Laura Ward from Tyldesley in Greater Manchester was already pregnant, but she was so poorly, doctors at the Royal Bolton Hospital decided the only way to save her and her baby was to put her into an induced coma.
Laura says she has no recollection of her daughter being born via an emergency C-section. Fittingly, she's called her Hope. Sarah Rogers went to meet them.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday.
This is the best present ever.
Laura Ward had no idea she'd even given birth. And this is the moment that she met her baby for the first time after waking from a 7-week coma after falling ill with COVID during her pregnancy. It's Laura's 33rd birthday here, but she can't move. Her arms are adjusted into position so she can hold her daughter, who was delivered 9 weeks early. Thankfully, after months in hospital, they're now both home in Wigan.
It's amazing what happens when you fall asleep for 7 weeks and then you can't move, and it's quite upsetting when you can't hold your baby and you can't move and you can't even speak to her, so she can't hear your voice. It could have been very different, very different. It could have gone the other way where she didn't survive, and then it could also have been that I wouldn't have survived either.
Difficult to watch. This is the effect COVID had on her previously healthy body. Laura wasn't vaccinated because when she fell pregnant, it wasn't routinely being given to expectant mothers.
Oh, so cute. Are you happy? Yeah.
At 3.5 pounds, the baby thrived, but Laura was put on a special machine to save her life.
It's called the ECMO machine, which is basically they put tubes in your arteries in your neck and your groin, and they take your blood out and put it back in with more oxygen.
At one point I thought I was going to lose them both. When you're asleep, will you miss a phone call? When you wake up, will you get a phone call? It's very scary.
But fear turned into congratulations as Laura slowly recovered, determined to get home for Christmas. But the road ahead is long. She's had to learn how to walk again and even brush her teeth. But she's full of hope. And that's exactly what she's named her daughter.
She's a good girl.
And she's sharing her story today to pass on a message that's important to her.
Get the vaccine, because at the end of the day it takes a couple of seconds. And after what I've been through, a needle is nothing. It really is nothing. Oh, what is it?
Laura believes she might have enjoyed Hope's first weeks of life if she'd had it, but is now looking forward to a brighter future.
The other half may be proposing, so he had me trying on rings yesterday, so he's going to go and pick one out.
She wants her next big milestone to be walking down that aisle unaided. Sarah Rogers, ITV News in Wigan.
Well, he has no choice now, does he? It's
No
been on
pressure,
Granada Reports. Get on with it. Lots to come on the programme coming up.
If you like The Wizard of Oz, you'll love The Wiz. We catch up with an exciting new version of the classic tale.
And apparently the bookies have slashed the odds on a white Christmas, the lowest odds on in a decade. So what is a white Christmas? And will we get one across the northwest as we head towards next week? Still a week away, but I'll have the latest detail a little later on in the programme.
Stay with us for that. Next, though, to a pair of charity pavement pounders, starting with the world's most famous wearer of budgie smugglers. Speedo Mick has finished an epic 2,000-mile walk around the UK and Ireland this afternoon. The Everton fan has faced all weathers in his trademark trunks. Facing sunshine and snow, he's raised more than £800,000. Along his route, Mick's given out money to local charities who support mental health.
He's a bit of a superstar. And next, someone who hasn't put in as many miles, but probably feels just as sore.
Yes, at the start of the week, we told the story of Martin Clark, a rugby league fan from Wigan who's been raising money for his sporting hero, Rob Burrow.
Rob used to play for Leeds Rhinos. He announced he'd been diagnosed with motor neurone disease 2 years ago.
Well, Martin set himself the challenge of completing 7 half triathlons in 7 days. He finished it just a few hours ago, and our reporter Claire Hannah was there to see him over the line.
This is the moment Martin's epic 7-day challenge came to an end this afternoon. It all started exactly a week ago today when Martin set out to complete 7 Ironman half triathlons in 7 days. To put that into context, that is a 1.2-mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, then a half marathon every single day. And that means for the past week, he's been up every morning at the crack of dawn and finishing after dark. We caught up with him on day 3.
A lot worse than day 1 and day 2. So yeah, we're finished in the pouring rain. It's 56 miles on the bike with the lads sheltering me from the wind and rain, and then superb 13.1 miles with Annie.
Along the way, Martin has lost 2 toenails, but he has picked up some pretty high-profile support.
One Ironman just makes me feel physically sort of weak, but to do 7 in 7 days, I think it's all an amazing effort that's building to support people with MND.
Martin has done this to raise money for the Motor Neurone Disease Association, and because Rob Burrow, who, although he played for Leeds, has always been his favourite rugby league player.
We all know what Rob Burrow is going through, but it actually did intrigue me that he's one of your favourite players. He has been for quite a while, even though you're a Wigan man.
So I coached pretty okay, I guess. I was a terrible player. But yeah, I coached my son at Oral St James's for a number of years. Stu Simmons is also here as a coach from Oral St James's. My son still plays, and that was kind of the inspiration.
Everything he's done adds up to a whopping 392 miles on a bike, 91 miles running and 7 miles of swimming. So what's next?
I've been asleep every night for 9 o'clock, so I'll try and stay awake after 9 o'clock. And just have a beer, relax, and doing absolutely nothing tomorrow. So going out with the boys on Sunday for good drinks.
Definitely there. Time for a well-earned rest. So we'll leave Martin to put his feet up. Claire Hannah, ITV News, Wigan.
Now, in an uncertain world, there's one thing you can be sure of.
Yes, that The Wizard of Oz will be on telly this Christmas. Well, if you fancy the classic story with a very modern twist, you need to head to a theatre in Manchester.
Yes, Hope Mill Theatre is showing a new version of The Wiz, the 1970s remake of the classic film starring Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. Just like The Wiz, this production has an all-black cast.
Yes, our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore went to meet them.
Hope Mill Theatre is back with The Wiz. This is a reinvention, isn't it, of The Wizard of Oz. Just tell us a little bit about The Wiz.
Everybody knows the story of The Wizard of Oz, and it's through the years gone through so many different adaptations, and this was a Broadway musical in the 70s. It was then made into a really successful movie starring Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and it's actually not been revived in the UK in 10 years. So we feel very special and honoured that we've got that revival happening here this Christmas at Hope Mill.
You play Dorothy, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So just tell me, are any red sparkly shoes in there?
We have got some sparkly shoes, we do. We have so many references to The Wizard of Oz, The Wiz, and then we've just given it our own little sparkle also.
Even from the audition stage, you can tell it was going to be something special and something different. Just what the creators were bringing to us, the ideas that they were giving us and telling us to play with.
Well, and this is your professional debut as the Tin Man. Yes!
Yes, it is.
Absolutely smashing it.
Thank
so
you.
And that's coming from the Lion.
Yeah.
He's all down, he's all down.
When I got the news that I was the Tin Man, I was just like, what? Like, everything's about to change now. And it's been an experience from that moment on.
An all-black cast and all-black creatives, was that important to you? Or?
Absolutely. I can only speak for myself, but that was something that was one of the main reasons I wanted to be a part of this production and this revival of the show. It's not something I've ever experienced in my life before, working with an all-black cast, and to have black creatives on board, such an important and really deeply personal, strengthening sort of thing that just adds to the whole story and the message of everything we're sharing.
And is there a yellow brick road?
There absolutely is a yellow brick road.
Oh, yes.
We won't give too much away, though.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come and see it for yourself.
He's all down, he's all down. He's all down, he's all down. He's all down, he's all down.
Yeah, and you've still got time to see The Wiz at Hope Mill Theatre in Manchester. COVID permitting, it's on until January 16th. Now, it's time to see who's behind door 17 on our advent calendar of local heroes. Tonight we meet foster carer Linda Wild from the Wirral.
Yeah, she's amazing. Linda started fostering with her husband back in 1994, and when she sadly lost him 12 years ago, she continued to foster by herself. She's now looked after well over 100 young people.
Wow. Despite going through treatment for cancer at the start of the pandemic, Linda didn't stop fostering and says it's the best job in the world.
My name is Linda. I have been a foster parent for nearly 30 years. I got into this because at one point I got breast cancer. You think, oh no, this is the end of my life. And as it wasn't, and I was cured and everything was fine, I thought I need to give something back to life, basically. My husband and I, Norman, sadly passed away 12 years ago. But he was a big part of the fostering, and he got really involved with them, loved all the children. I carried on after my husband passed away, and I've been doing it ever since. Right at the beginning of the COVID thing, I happened to get throat cancer. I had chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and my cancer has disappeared. But right all the way through that, because I was still doing this job and doing it, it helped me tremendously. I love the job. I've got such a lot out of it. Half of them call me Nan, some of them call me, you know, their other mum. The only hope I think I've got for 2022 is this COVID disappears from us. It's been so hard, I think, on the children. But I just hope everybody has a lovely Christmas and a lovely New Year, and hopefully a lot of this illnesses will go away and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, well done, Linda, you absolute legend. Now for the weather. Will it be a white Christmas? Here's Kerry.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Hello, very good evening to you. Well, the big day is just over a week away, but will it be a white one? To be a white Christmas, we just have to have one snowflake falling at one of our 13 major airports across the UK. And for us, that means Liverpool and Manchester during the 24-hour period of the 25th. But this year, honestly, still too early to say. We'll be much more certain with our 5-day forecast from Monday onwards. But at this stage, it looks settled until Wednesday the 23rd. Then it gets a bit more interesting. It could possibly be cold and wet, so maybe a mixture of rain, sleet and more likely hill snow from Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. And of course, we'll keep you posted over the next couple of days. For today, we've either had blue sky or that lingering mist and fog, and that is reforming overnight tonight. And as we head into the weekend, it's a mixture. It's settled, dry with light winds, but quite a lot of cloud around. And yes, those winter hazards, frost and fog in the mix. So overnight tonight, if anything, the cloud just thickens as the night progresses. Misty low cloud and murk in the vales and valleys, and there could be some poor visibility by dawn tomorrow. Tricky driving conditions once more, and temperatures either hovering a few degrees above or a few degrees below freezing as we head towards tomorrow morning. 8:24 and 3:50 ice times for Saturday. So disappointing tomorrow in terms of clear skies. Quite a lot of cloud around again. There will be some thinning and breaking, more likely in the north and out towards the west. But for many of us, it's cloudy, dry with light winds, feeling pretty chilly though with the lack of sunshine. And then we've got mist and murk redeveloping again as we head towards the early part of Sunday. Sunday, again cloudy, but dry with light winds and fairly cold. Maybe a bit brighter Monday into Tuesday. Have a lovely weekend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please. Oh, lovely.
Thanks, Kerry. Now, if like me, you haven't done nearly enough Christmas shopping, a reminder that there are 8 more sleeps to Christmas.
Or the equivalent of 4 if you've got a child under 6. I feel your pain. Anyway, the late news is coming up at 11:15 tonight. Join us for that and have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.